Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss the last topic of chapter 1, that is quantum of devolution of power to the Indians through Acts 1861, 1892, 1809 and 1919. It means that how power was transferred to the local people step by step. किस तरह से इख्तियारात की बतदरीज मुंतकिली पॉसिबल हुई. So the British government they enacted several laws and constitution to introduce political reforms. Now what are laws and the constitutions? In fact, law is the system of the rules to regulate the action of the people of the country or a specific society. सज़ा और जज़ा का जो अमल होता है कि आप अपने लोगों को किस तरह से लॉ के अंडर या कानून के अंदर लेकर आते हैं. So they should act properly. Their actions should be monitored. And what is constitution? Constitution are the basic laws through which the administration of the country is run. Okay, they make constitution too for the government so that the machinery of the government can be run smoothly. So the British government made many efforts to bring political reforms and to run the administration of the country in a smooth way. So what were the political or what were the constitutional measures from time to time? Let us discuss it now. So the Indian Consuls Act 1861. Now what is Act? Act is made by Legislative Council. ठीक है. एक्ट वो कानून होता है जो किसी मुल्क का कानून साज इदारा उसका बनाता है. What is Legislative Council? The role of the Legislative Council that it make laws for the country. So what is Act? Act is that law, वो कानून which is made by the Legislative Council. Now the British Legislative Council used to approve Act for the India. The first step was the introduction of the Indian Consuls Act 1861. And in that what happened? The Viceroy Legislative Councils and its powers were reformed. उनके power को reform किया गया. In fact, they wanted to run the government in more democratic way through this Indian Consul Act 1861. More political opportunities were given to the Indians, to the local people. They wanted them to be the part of the political system. So through this act, they gave them more political opportunities. The number of the Legislative Council's members was increased. And members of the Legislative Council was increased, and the Indians were also given representation in it. Legislative councils in Madras and Bombay were established, and the empowerment of Viceroy. Something about the empowerment of Viceroy. The Viceroy was given more powers, or he was empowered to establish such councils in other provinces as well. So I hope now you have understood that law is the system of the rules through which the action of the people is monitored. Constitutions are the basic laws through which the machinery of the government is run. Act is a kanun or a law which is made by the Legislative Council. Now, the Indian Council Act 1892. Here, the number of the local people was increased in Legislative Council. मतलब Indians को इसमें भी ज़्यादा तादाद दी गई. Electoral system. They tried their best that the electoral system should run in a very smooth way or in a better way. Financial powers were also given to them, and then more representation of Indians in center and the provinces. Okay, and then the Government of India Act 1909. It is also called Minto-Morley reforms. Why it is called Minto-Morley reforms? Because it was constructed by the Viceroy of India, Lord Minto, and the British Cabinet Minister for the Indian Affairs, Morley. Okay, it also brought some reforms The powers of the members were increased of the legislative councils. Positive changes were brought in the legislative councils of the provinces, and more representation was given. The chance of the more representation was given to the Indians. The number was increased. And the most important thing of the Minto-Morley reforms is the right of the separate electorate for Muslims. It was in 1906 that a delegation of the Muslims leaders met Lord Minto at Shimla, and they demanded for the separate electorate system. Lord Minto considered their demands, and then later on in 1909 this right was given to the Muslim. Now this Minto-Morley reforms, it is a landmark in the political history of the India, of the subcontinent. Especially the Muslims gained their right of separate electorate system. Now the Government of Indian Act 1919, it is called Montego-Chelmsford reforms. For the very first time, two legislative bodies in center were established. दो मुकन्नना ईवान साज कानून द्वारा या दो मुकन्नना वजूद में आया. In fact, in this act, they tried their level best to address the earlier shortcomings. या पुरानी जितनी भी कमियां या खामियां थी उसको पूरा किया जाए. So the two legislative bodies in centers was established, and then some members were elected and some were nominated in it. And there were also some conditions for the voters. And then the most important thing, that diarchy system. What is diarchy system? It is the government by two independent authorities. ठीक है? Diarchy system या दो अमली निज़ाम, that government by two independent authorities. It means system of double government. Now, some ministers, for example, some ministers worked directly under the governor general, the governor, and the others were chosen from the provincial assembly, and both were under the control of the governor. अब समझ में आया कि वो दो governments के साथ मिलकर काम कर रहे थे. They were also working under the governor, and some were chosen from the provincial assembly. Now this act was more democratic. It is said that this act was more democratic. 70% of the members of the provincial councils were elected by the people. The people in this act, you can see that people were given the right of the vote. And then Sikh community, they were also in minority like Muslims, so they were also given the right of the separate electorate, and the powers of the Indians were more increased, and the state of the Indian affairs were reduced. So this is the end of chapter 1. I hope you have got it, and we discussed the advent of we discussed the invade of the British here in subcontinent as merchants, and then later on they captured the whole subcontinent, they controlled the whole subcontinent, and then how they run their government here in subcontinent.